Well, hello, everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCalSabre here. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you've had a great week and having a great start to your weekend. But we're here to talk about some music that I listened to this week of my vinyl, added to my vinyl record collections and listened to for my CD collections and the various. So, when you watching this, if you have any of these albums, let me know. If you have any by the artists, let me know. Which ones did you like or would you have liked if you had them by the artists? I like to hear all that good stuff and I will get back with you. So we'll get started, but as we do, go down there and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And push it out into your social media channels. Put some comments in there too. Okay, here we go. We started the week off with a 1980 reissue of a 1974 album by Lou Reed titled Rock and Roll Animal. That's not my first thing. I do have one LP now, and I have one CD in the collection by Lou. This was a live album, and he was a former member and a contributor to Velvet Underground. So he was trying to make his way. So, I expected the what do I call it? Talk singing on here. But what I did not expect was how this band rocked. This really jammed real well. The band was made up of Penty Glam on drums, Prakash John on bass, Ray Colcord on keyboards, Dick Wagner and Steve Hunter on guitars. The two guitarists would later form the basis of the first Alex Cooper solo band, beginning at when Welcome to My Nightmare. It also featured Glam and John on that album as well. So this rocked. I was so surprised. I wasn't expecting that because of Lou Reed, but this really rocked, and it was really a good album. I really had a good time. He sang in his usual talk style, but the instrumentation, especially the guitars, was very VG plus. There's only 5 tracks, and overall, I'm giving it a VG. Unfortunately for me, this was a whatnot pickup. There was a slight warp on the album, very slight, but it played okay. Did not make the music distort or anything else. So that was a pretty nice pickup, really, to tell you the truth. And that was Rock and Roll Animal by Lou Reed, the 1980 reissue of the 1974 album. You guys like Lou Reed? People like Lou Reed? It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Does some weird stuff, but he's pretty cool. All right, then I picked up this album out at Wisecrack Records, my local record store in Oak Hills, California. It was on my watch list for quite a long time. And I was surprised to see it in the store when I got there, and it is the 1979 album by UFO, Strangers in the Night. It's a 2 LP album. I now have 3 LPs in the collection. This had been, like I said, it had been on my watch list for quite a long time. It's a live album by the British rock group and is often regarded as one of the greatest live rock albums of all time. But, there's some inners in here. Most of it is just advertisement from, well, both of them are just advertisement for other albums from the company. They have Mary O'Hara, Racing Cars, Mary Travers, Jethro Tull, Robin Trower, UFO, Trevor Rabin, Frankie Miller. Here's the back. Good guitar stuff on here from Michael Schenker, who left the band after the album came out. He left during the tour and was replaced for a second time by Lone Stars, Paul Chapman. Shanker wasn't happy with the tracks that were chosen, so I guess it was a stylist or musical difference between him and the rest of the band and the manager. So off he went. This peaked at number 7 in the UK, number 42 in the US. It's on Crowdless Records. It says it was, often regarded as the best live album. So I've had a couple good ones here so far this week. So I liked it a lot. And I can't say if it was the best of all time, but I couldn't say it's one of the top live albums that I have heard. I'm real glad to have found it and got it into the collection. UFO released 23 studio albums, including 1 album of cover songs, 14 live albums, and 16 compilations. And I was late to the game with them. Some of the most recognized songs include Dr. Doctor, Rock Bottom, Natural Thing, Lights Out, Too Hot to Handle, and Only You Can Rock Me. Good stuff. UFO, my collection's growing on them. I got 3 LPs in there now. I do have something else from UFO on my watch list. And for this week, because of the quality of that concert, I'm giving this a VG+. Good stuff by UFO and the album Strangers in the Night, the live album released in 1979, and this is a 79 issue. Guys like UFO? Okay, next one I got, we're going to slow it down a little bit. We've rocked out in the first two albums. And the next one we got, this is a 1971 LP by Graham Nash called Songs for Beginners. Now, why did I go after this one? Well, I've been a fan. I got a lot of material by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. But I didn't have any solo material by Graham Nash or Stephen Stills. So I says I wanted to add a little bit. And I added one. I forget which one it was. And I really wasn't too keen on it. So I did some research. And the people said, if you want a good one, this is a good one. And this did turn out to be a pretty good one. So now I have 2 LPs in the collection. This is Folk Rock in Nature. I liked it. I'm glad to have finally found it. This was the debut solo studio album by Nash, released in 71, featuring notable tracks like Chicago and Military Madness. This album opened up with Military Madness. Everybody's heard that one probably. And then we have an inner. So the lyrics on the one side I just showed you, and then we got credits on this side by the tracks. This peaked at number 15 on the Billboard Top Pop Albums chart. And the single Chicago made it to number 35 on the Hot 100 chart. Second single, Military Madness, was a hit in Australia, reaching number 8 on its charts. Wonder why it's such a big hit in Australia. I don't know. I know Vietnam's going on, but maybe that's why it was a big hit. Graham Nash brought in an impressive lineup of other artists to help him with the album. Some of them: David Crosby, Jerry Garcia, Phil Lesh, Dave Mason, Dave Lindley, Rita Coolidge, and Neil Young. Neil Young was under his pseudonym at that time, 1970 pseudonym of Joe Yankee. There's your trivia for today. Does anybody ever ask you who Joe Yankee is? Yep, Neil Young in the 70s. And it was pretty good. So I'm having a really good week. And I gave this another VG. I gave this one VG also. It was that good, an album. So the people that recommended it, that I researched, did a good job. Okay. Next, we got the one you saw on the thumbnail. This is Horses. It's a double LP. Just released this year. It's the 50th anniversary reissue of her 1975 album. I have now had 3 albums by her in my collection. This says 50th anniversary horses, 2 LP set featuring the iconic album remastered direct from the original master tapes with previously unreleased outtakes and rarities, including the 1975 RCA audition tape. So yeah, I pre-ordered this. I saw it was coming out, and I'd already gotten a couple other by Patti Smith that I liked. I says, this is her debut one. It's being reissued. I'm going to take a chance on it. Smith and her band composed the album songs using simple chord progressions while also breaking from the punk tradition and their propensity for improvisation and embracing the ideas of avant-garde and other musical styles. There is also a poetic sense in a few of the songs, especially in the songs, especially like Birdland and Land. Okay, so do we have any inners in here? No, there was no inners in this one either. Oh yeah, there was. They were both paper sleeves, which I have done. I keep them, but I'm not using them anymore. From what I read, her lyrics were mostly derived from her personal experiences, particularly with her family, and in a more fantastical imagination. Horses experienced moderate success. What am I doing here? Why is this not coming out on me? Okay. Modest commercial success and reached the top 50 of the Billboard Top 200 album chart, while being widely acclaimed by music critics, recognized as a seminal recording in the history of punk and later rock movements. Horses appeared on numerous lists of the greatest albums of all time. Pretty cool stuff, huh? 2009, it was selected by the Library of Congress for preservation into the National Recording Registry as culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant work. Good stuff. I liked both albums, the original and the outtakes and rarities. I liked both of them. I liked the production. VG Plus. So this has been quite a week. VG Plus and VG Pluses. I don't remember a week going this well for a long, long time. Well, we're going to get into the CDs now. Maybe that's going to change things up a little bit. First one I got, CD number 159, is one, because I haven't been in my CD collection, that I didn't even remember buying. It is America's Least Wanted by Ugly Kid Joe from 1992. It's the only thing I got in this collection by Ugly Kid Joe. The title is a parody of the famous phrase, America's Most Wanted. Surprised me. It's pretty good. Maybe, I don't know what, there's the cover. I read a lot of things about the cover being they're supposed to be they're whatever you want to call it. They're in the Statue of Liberty. I don't understand none of that at all. This charted 3 singles in the mainstream rock tracks: Neighbor, Busy Bee, and Cats in the Cradle, the Harry Chapin song. That's probably why I bought this, because of the Harry Chapin song, because I really did like Harry Chapin. I heard that on the radio. I says, I'm going to get that, maybe there's some more stuff like that. There was nothing else like that on there. This was all hard rock. and pretty good. But the made it. The album peaked at number 6, earning the album 2 top 10 Billboard hit singles. The later song also made the number 11 in the top 40. That was the Harry Chapin song. It charted top 50 on 11 different charts. It was rocking. But you've heard me before and say in the past it could have been rocking. I didn't like it or something like that. I did like this one. And this is another one getting a VG for the week. Wow. It's going to be tough picking out 2 this week. I'll be doing that at the end, telling you which 2 I picked out. You can let me know which ones you would have picked if you were making the selections. Okay, then next one. Just going to continue right on rocking. And this is number 160. It's a 1993 album. Bat Out of Hell 2. Back into Hell. Meatloaf CD from 1993. I have 5 CDs in the collection by Meatloaf. Must mean I must like them, huh? This was the sixth studio album, and the second in the Bat Out of Hell trilogy. Released 16 years after Bat Out of Hell. That's a long time for the trilogy to be gone. The recording of this album, from what I read, took a long time because of the length of the songs. They are quite lengthy songs. The opening track is just great. I'd do anything for you, but I won't do that. And it's like 11 minutes long, opening up. The album reached number 1 in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. 3 tracks were released as singles, including I'd Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That, which reached number 1 in 28 countries. Bat Out of Hell was a big commercial success, selling over 14 million copies worldwide. This one rocked. Another G+ for the week. What a week I've had. What a week. Oh, this is, I guess, a reward for last week's pickings. So that was Bat Out of Hell 2, Back in Hell, by Meatloaf from 1993. Okay, so now we're where I pull out the next album in the collection. We're going right up the line in order. And I found this was, what a coincidence this is. The album, and I'll tell you what the coincidence is in a minute. The album is a 1977 release, I, Robot, from the Alan Parsons Project. I have 17 LPs and 4 CDs in my collection. Now, the ironic coincidence that this was the next album to pull out of my collection in the same week that this was re-released and as a deluxe edition, 2 LPs remastered, 4 CDs, 1 Blu-ray, whole bunches of stuff. Oh, that was really tempting, but I didn't pull a trigger on it. You people all know how much I like Alan Parsons. This was originally going to be going towards being something about songs about the stories of the universe and everything. Then it got switched over to robots, which were pretty popular at the time. This was their second album by the British rock band. On the inside of this one, it says, I, Robot, the story and the rise of the machine and the decline of man, which paradoxically coincided with his discovery of the wheel and a warning that his brief dominance on this planet will probably end because man tried to create robot in his own image. Then they say by coincidence that, but this is probably just really smart planning. There's no winner on this one either. Smart planning that this was released shortly after Star Wars came out in the United States. The part of the album's success come from it being the only album with a robot on the cover during a time when robots were suddenly all the rage. They say coincidentally. Huh? I bet you they knew that movie was coming out and they held it up till it was out. It charted on 11 different charts and won platinum in the U.S. And since you guys know I'm a big Alan Parsons fan, I've seen him live 3 times. I would see him again without a problem. VG Plus. Bet you guessed that one, didn't you? Okay, what are the two? I'll just give you the first one. That was iRobot's getting one of the ones that I picked. Okay, this was a really, really tough week. Any one of these songs, Bad Out of Hell 2, America's Least Wanted, Horses, Songs for Beginners, Strangers in the Night, and Rock and Roll Animal all could have been picked by me. This was such a good week. But on a strange note, I picked Patti Smythe's 50th anniversary release of Horses. I really like that. That was really, really nice in their voice and the poetic sounds and so forth, and the folk rock and that. Really good stuff. All right, let me know what you think of my choices. Let me know what you would have picked if you'd done. And we'll see you next week. SoCalsabre saying take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to each other. Stay safe.